Gary, looking ahead to Cheltenham this weekend, we'll start with the injury situation. Is there any good news you can tell us? Because I imagine you're scratching your head at the moment about how bad it is.
Yeah, there's been obviously some disappointments. Ilmari probably the biggest one after having so many players out, and then he gets injured on international duty. But James Scott will be back, full training today. Harry Kite, Czech are doing part of training today. Ads and Vinny are getting closer, but it will be really tight to be back before the weekend. And then obviously Jack and other long terms will be back, and Ilmari will go into that, Dion will go into that. They'll be back in the kind of weeks to come. But we are getting some back, and I always feel like with an injury crisis, you feel like you're in it and you come out it very quickly. So hopefully by next weekend we'll have a few more players to pick from.
What can you tell us about Ilmari's injury?
We think he's dislocated his shoulder. He's had a X-ray on his shoulder. There's no break, which is good. He's having an MRI scan on Saturday to see the full extent of the damage. Potentially it could need an operation. So we're still, fingers crossed, it's the kind of better side of what we think it could be. And he'll still be a number of weeks, but knowing the player and the person that he is, then I'm sure he'll be back as quickly as he possibly can.
Just reflecting back on Leyton Orient last weekend, had players in positions that they perhaps weren't used to. How did the team come through that game, and what was the feeling after it, despite defeat?
A disappointment, the feeling. Even on Tuesday, the players still had that disappointment, which is good. They want to win every game. We had a good discussion and tried to pick some learning opportunities out of it and how we can get better. And I think that's key to how we progress. I think when we win, we're always trying to improve, and when we lose, we have to do the same. It's never easy when you lose to analyse the game, but as long as individually we can take accountability for the performance, then as a staff we're here to support every player and improve together. So I'm sure we will come out of that experience stronger and hopefully show a reaction this Saturday.
I think you said it at the end of that game. It was difficult to be angry at them, given the squad that finished that game. I think you said we won't end the game like that again.
No, we won't. But like I said, they were still disappointed, and on the debrief, I showed we didn't run, we didn't compete, and when you don't do that, regardless of people playing out of position, regardless of formation, you don't give yourself an opportunity to win a football match. So we know what went wrong and what we have to do to be a harder team to play against, and hopefully we bring that on Saturday. And I can see a reaction in training already. The players are hungry to try and put that right.
Of course, you now expect that reaction to be followed on Saturday as well, not just what you see in training.
Yeah, we have to. It was the weird thing last week. We trained extremely well throughout the week. There was a great energy, there was competitiveness, and we looked ready. Obviously, we had personnel changes and some players playing out of position, but we felt like the team was in a good place, and on the day we just didn't get a performance. So the players know they need to improve, and I'm sure they will on Saturday. Given
the injury situation, are you perhaps a lot more cautious about certain players that may have even the slightest of knocks, and whether it's right to play them?
Yeah, we have to obviously be very careful of that. This week was a deload week anyway, physically, because of the run of fixtures we've got. We've got 4 weeks of Saturday, Tuesday. So this week was meant to be a down week. So a lot of players had Monday off. We had Wednesday off as well. So physically, compared to what we normally do, we've done a lot less, which should freshen the players up. And it also gives us, like you say, that opportunity where we're not panicking about every little contact on the training pitch or working players too hard. The players should be, fit. They should be full of energy on Saturday. And fingers crossed we don't have any more injuries this week before the game.
Fingers crossed. A word on Jake Richards. He made his League One debut, of course, last weekend. Have you had Tom Donati in your ear, wanting him back for the 18s, or is he very much part of your plans going forward?
Yeah, he's part of your plans. He's a young player who we can't expect too much of, but we felt it was right to give him the opportunity to play. He had showed a lot of quality in training. He showed he was ready. I felt he performed really well in a poor team performance. So he can be proud of his debut. It's never nice to obviously play in a debut in a team that plays badly and loses, but he's a young player with great maturity. He's got a great attitude to everything, and I'm sure he will learn from that experience and be even better next time.
Moving on to Cheltenham, the opposition, do you feel that they're perhaps in a false position from clips you may have seen of them this season and highlights?
Yeah, they're a very organised team. They beat us last season in a game that we performed pretty well in, but they punished us for certain actions, so we know exactly what we're going to face. They are very strong defensively, even though they've not picked up a lot of points. They're one of the stronger defensive teams in the league. They have a really good structure that's hard to break down. If you give them opportunities to counter-attack, then they will. So we know what we're coming up against, and I go back to last week, we have to be ready to run, we have to be ready to compete, to even give us an opportunity to win the game. So even though they're down the bottom of the league, we will not be taking this game lightly.
And I know you very much talk about focusing on ourselves, but they'll be looking at our squad list at the moment, and they'll be seeing an opportunity there. We just have to make sure we don't give them one.
Yeah, we have to trust the players that are coming in, and we spoke this week about the players that do come in have to be ready to contribute and have to be ready to take the shirt and make sure they stay in the team. So whilst we are weaker because of the number of players we have out, that doesn't mean that we're going to be an easy team to play against, and we have to get back to what we were, at the start of the season when we're really hard to play against and teams are coming off the park knowing how strong we are, how physical we are, and we have to get back to that on Saturday just to give us the opportunity to then play and go and win the game.
Sean McDonald came in last weekend as a free agent. Looking to add a couple more bodies this week, if not next?
Yeah, we're still looking to try and improve the squad with different players. It's hopefully we can get at least one over the line before Saturday, if not next week. But clearly we need, the squad depth needs to be there. I think the squad overall is excellent, but still we could do a little bit of depth, and hopefully we can add to that soon.